Well, folks, it seems 2025 decided to borrow a page from the history books, dusting off a name that evokes both admiration and head-scratching bewilderment. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yes, you heard that right. The son of the legendary Robert F. Kennedy is our new Health and Human Services Secretary, appointed by none other than, surprise, surprise, former and potentially future President Donald J. Trump. RFK Jr. stepped into his new role with a bang, immediately making waves with a move that has left many reeling. Now, you might be thinking, John, this sounds like an episode of The Twilight Zone, not real life. And honestly, I'm right there with you. But buckle up, because it's about to get even weirder. In a move straight out of a dystopian novel, or maybe just a particularly regressive episode of Black Mirror, RFK Jr.'s first act as health secretary was to issue new guidance on how the department defines sex. This decision has sent ripples through the nation, igniting debates and sparking outrage from various communities. Now, you might be wondering why this is such a big deal. Why does a simple definition matter so much? Shouldn't the definition of sex be pretty straightforward? After all, it's a biological fact, right? Well, the reality is far more complex. In a just and equitable world, maybe. But our world is layered with social, cultural, and political nuances that make such definitions anything but simple. But in Trump's America 2.0, things are rarely that simple. The political landscape has shifted dramatically, and with it, the definitions that govern our lives. The new guidance, folks, is sending shockwaves through the LGBTQ+ community and beyond, and for good reason. This isn't just a minor change, it's a fundamental shift that affects how people are recognized and treated. This isn't just some bureaucratic technicality. It's a matter that touches the core of human identity and dignity. This is about people's lives, their identities, and their fundamental human rights. It's about acknowledging and respecting the diverse experiences and identities that make up our society. And the message from the Trump administration is loud and clear. Some Americans are more equal than others. This new guidance is a stark reminder of the ongoing struggle for equality and recognition. The divide is growing, and the fight for equal rights is far from over. As the nation grapples with these changes, the voices of those affected continue to rise, demanding justice and equality for all. So what exactly does this earth-shattering memo say? What has caused such a stir in the media and among the public? Well, in short, it throws us back to a time when things were simpler, or at least we pretended they were. A time when the complexities of human identity were often brushed under the rug, and the world was viewed in stark black and white. The memo, dated February 19, 2025, stresses that the Department of Health and Human Services will only recognize two sexes, male and female, full stop. No ifs, ands, or buts. This rigid classification has sparked a wave of controversy and debate across the nation. And just in case anyone was confused, the memo goes on to define terms like male, female, man, and woman in purely biological terms, completely ignoring the lived experiences and identities of millions of Americans. This has left many feeling invalidated and marginalized, as their personal truths are dismissed by an official document. It's like they took a time machine back to the 1950s, grabbed a dictionary from a Leave It to Beaver episode and decided, yep, that's good enough for the 21st century. But the reality is, our understanding of gender and identity has evolved significantly since then. The memo has ignited protests and sparked conversations about the importance of recognizing and respecting diverse gender identities. Activists argue that this move is a step backward in the fight for equality and inclusivity. Experts in psychology and sociology warn that such a narrow definition of sex and gender can have harmful effects on mental health and well-being. They emphasize the need for policies that reflect the complexities of human identity. Lawmakers are also divided on the issue, with heated debates taking place in Congress. Some argue that the memo is necessary for clarity and consistency, while others believe it undermines the progress made in recognizing and protecting the rights of all individuals. Ultimately, this memo is more than just a piece of paper. It represents a clash of ideologies and a struggle for recognition and respect. As the nation grapples with this controversial document, the voices of those affected continue to resonate, reminding us of the importance of empathy and understanding in shaping our policies and our society. Now you might be thinking, John, this all sounds terribly familiar. Haven't we been down this road before? And you'd be right, my friend. This blast from the past is just the latest salvo in the Trump administration's ongoing assault on transgender rights. Remember that whole bathroom bill debacle? Yeah, this is like that, but on steroids. See, this new guidance isn't just some rogue action by a rogue health secretary. Oh no, it's all part of a broader agenda. An agenda set in motion by none other than Donald J. Trump himself. That's right, folks, this whole thing is tied to an executive order signed by Trump titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism. Section 5. LGBTQ plus advocates cry foul, a step backwards for equality. It's no surprise that this regressive move has sparked outrage and fear within the LGBTQ plus community. Advocacy groups are calling it a blatant attack on transgender rights, and they're not mincing words. This is a dangerous and discriminatory policy that will have real-world consequences for transgender people, said one spokesperson from the Human Rights Campaign. It's 2025, for crying out loud. We should be moving forward, not backward, and they're right. This isn't just about semantics or bureaucratic definitions. This is about people's lives, their identities, and their fundamental human rights. And the message from the Trump administration is loud and clear. Some Americans are more equal than others. Section 6. Medical experts weigh in, ignoring science and human complexity. It's not just LGBTQ plus advocates who are up in arms about this. Medical experts are also sounding the alarm, calling the new guidance a gross oversimplification of complex scientific and medical realities. This is just plain wrong, said one leading endocrinologist. Sex and gender are not black and white. There's a whole spectrum, and to pretend otherwise is not only ignorant, but also harmful. They're right, you know. This isn't some fringe theory. This is basic biology. And to have the government dictating medical definitions based on ideology rather than science, well, that's a recipe for disaster. Section 7. The numbers don't lie. Transgender representation in America. Now, some folks might be tempted to dismiss this whole thing as much ado about nothing. It's just a small group of people, they might say. Why all the fuss? Well, let's talk numbers for a second, shall we? According to a 2023 study by the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law, an estimated 1.6 million Americans ages 13 and up identify as transgender. That's roughly the population of Philadelphia. These are real people, folks. Our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues. And they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, not used as political pawns in some culture war. Section 8. The human cost of misguided policy, discrimination, and health disparities. The potential consequences of this policy are far-reaching and deeply concerning. Transgender individuals already face disproportionate rates of discrimination and violence. This new guidance only serves to further marginalize them, putting them at even greater risk. And let's not forget about the impact on healthcare. Transgender people often face barriers to accessing quality, affirming healthcare. This policy could make it even harder for them to get the care they need. This isn't just about politics. This is about people's lives. Section 9. A call to action, protecting transgender rights and well-being. In today's world, the fight for transgender rights is more crucial than ever. We are witnessing a pivotal moment in history where our actions can make a significant difference. We can't let this stand. Discriminatory policies and harmful rhetoric are threatening the well-being of transgender individuals. These policies not only undermine their rights, but also put their lives at risk. We need to fight back against this dangerous and discriminatory policy. It's not just about opposing a single policy, it's about challenging a system that perpetuates inequality and injustice. We need to contact our elected officials and demand that they take action to protect transgender rights. Our voices matter, and when we come together, we can create a powerful force for change. Write letters, make phone calls, and use social media to amplify your message. We need to support organizations that are working tirelessly to advocate for transgender equality. These organizations provide essential services from legal assistance to mental health support, and they rely on our contributions to continue their vital work. And most importantly, we need to show up for our transgender friends, family members, and colleagues. Being an ally means more than just words. It means taking action and standing by them in times of need. Let them know that they are not alone, that we see them, we hear them, and we stand with them. Our support can make a world of difference in their lives, providing them with the strength and courage to face challenges. This isn't just about transgender rights, it's about human rights. It's about ensuring that every individual, regardless of their gender identity, is treated with dignity and respect. This is about the kind of society we want to live in, a society where everyone feels safe, valued, and included, a society where diversity is celebrated, not shunned, a society that values justice, equality, and compassion. These are the principles that should guide us in our fight for transgender rights and well-being. A society that embraces diversity in all its forms. We must recognize that our differences make us stronger and that inclusivity is the path to a brighter future. A society that stands up for the most vulnerable among us. Transgender individuals often face unique challenges and vulnerabilities, and it is our duty to protect and uplift them. Let's make it happen, folks. Together we can build a world where transgender rights are not just protected, but celebrated. A world where everyone can live authentically and without fear.